Get you through my morning every day. Every morning.
Ladies and gentlemen, Adelaide's Jody and Hazy on Nova.
That's as good as it gets. Front row to the Rachele show.
Jelly on the telly, eating jelly on the belly. Flying through the valley, singing Nelly with the jelly.
Please welcome to the show, Josh Rachele.
Rachele, Rush in a flash.
Ah, there he is in the flesh, Josh Rachele.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Good morning, guys. Thanks for having me.
Interestingly, he was nodding along to his intro. Then he loved
Yeah,
it. Can't
was
get enough of
not.
it. How often have you heard that, by the way?
Oh, about 500 times, I think.
Hey,
Time.
just quickly, take us through that because that's by the Kick It Forward boys. And you're in the actual skit dancing along. So it was all organised and everything.
Yeah, unfortunately it was. Last year when we were in Perth for our pre-season camp, that was one of the gigs I had to do and made it with them boys. They were actually a great bunch of boys, but
Yeah.
the video wasn't too good when it came out.
That was
Yeah.
very good. The
Well,
guys got
it's-
some moves, Joe.
It's interesting because they did one with Kane Corns as well, and you were saying they came into the studio and they did all this stuff with Kane and just fired a couple of questions at him, and he walked into you and he was like,
Yeah, because Kane was like, right, I said to him, you've got from 6:35 to 6:40, that's in between breaks. And Josh Gallard came in and was like, say this, and this. Kane walks away and he's like, I don't know what the hell he just did. And I was like, trust me, it's going to be very, very funny.
Yeah.
And it was brilliant.
"Yeah,
was,
they're very
yeah.
clever." It is haunting you though.
It is.
Gather round, you pumped up?
Very pumped up, especially as we are Norton 3 at the moment, so it's a very important must-win game for
See,
us.
we
on
weren't going to
Thursday.
mention the war, but you,
were,
just did.
You were.
He's jumped on the front foot. That's
Yeah.
good.
What's the feeling like at the club? Not the best start to the season.
It's not, but after last night's performance from one of our special talents, Isaac Rankin, it was quite unbelievable to watch him go live at playing guitar and singing along last night. So he's a bit of inspiration for us this week.
And it was a packed house, and that's a lot of pressure, and he just belted it out, didn't he?
It was so good. So if you're tuning in for the first time, you're like, what? Isaac Rankin sings and plays guitar? Yeah, wrap your ears around this. That's not footballer good. That's not like somebody who's good at something else good.
Yeah.
That's like proper musician good.
It's amazing, actually, because that was the first time he's ever performed in front of a massive crowd like that. And prior to that, the week before, it was in front of 20 of his teammates. So,
And that was it.
and that was it.
And was he a bit nervous beforehand?
He was a lot more nervous. I think it's always harder performing in front of friends and people when you see they're smiling in the background laughing, because we had no idea what he was doing. But out there, he just performed amazing.
Isn't that funny from a bloke who, performs in front of 100,000 people at the MCG, and then that's the thing that gets him with the anxiety? It's funny, isn't it?
It's crazy.
Josh Rachele, do you have any hidden talents like Isaac Rankin?
I don't, but apparently it's getting thrown around at the moment that I'm good on the decks, but I can confirm that I've never done anything with the DJ.
The DJ Jacks. We saw the article in the Advertiser.
Yeah.
You and Alira Lee are going to rip it up.
Yeah. So tell everyone where to come and see you perform on the decks. Josh.
Yeah, Adelaide Oval, Sunday night. I'm on at about 9:40, so be there, be square.
9:40 on a Sunday night.
Yep.
Well, I definitely won't be there. It's too late for this school
Some
kid.
David Guetta vibes. What about some of your teammates? Who is good at something that we don't know about?
Good. Riley O'Brien is a freak nerd, so he got a 99.9 something ATAR, so he's unbelievable.
Studying to be a doctor,
Yeah,
isn't he?
neuroscience. So he's
right,
done.
Riley.
He's actually crazy. If I had to say a funny one, Jake Saligo, his hidden talent's farting, because every time he's in the room, he stinks. So it's always coming out of
Does
him.
he sound like a seal when he farts?
Yeah, that
Did
is.
you? Well, we found out this, this is so lowbrow, and I'm so sorry, but it is funny. Seals, when they sneeze, sound like a fart.
Yeah,
Really?
live look into Josh Rachele and Jake Saligo's living room. Just a couple of young blokes.
That's a seal.
Big
seal
protein
sneeze.
intake as
Oh,
well. That's
no.
what
Isn't that amazing?
There you go.
Oh, there you go. The things you find out.
We're going to bounce back, aren't you, this week?
Yeah, we are. Yep. Hopefully. Yep.
Confident everything is heading in the right direction. Yes.
Brimming with confidence is our Josh.
Jody mentioned just before, but from the outside looking, because you're a Melbourne boy, aren't you?
Yeah, Shepparton boy.
Shepparton boy, soccer background, all those types of things. Are we absolutely the admiration of a nation right now? Like, would people in Melbourne be like, how jealous are we that everything is happening this week in Adelaide?
Yeah, especially Victorians. I think Sydney was trying to do a similar thing round one and it didn't really work at the start of the year. But
Cop that, Sydney.
I know. It's pretty cool they've got it locked in for the next few years. So hopefully it stays in Adelaide because I absolutely love it.
Well, it's interesting because nearly half the people coming this weekend are from interstate. So it's about 40%, I reckon. So, yeah, it's going to be a cracking weekend. Can't wait for it.
Josh, we love you. Thank you for stopping by, and we'll catch up with you again very, very soon.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Here's what you're waking up to, Adelaide.
In the news today.
Breaking news.
What's in the news today?
Your post-snooze news.
On the eve of Gather Round, we start to have a look at the financial impact this thing is going to have on our state, Abby, in the newsroom.
Yeah, it's a big one this year. So we made about 83 million for the economy last year, which is huge. But this year we've had 40% of tickets have been sold to interstate and overseas visitors, which is really good for us. A lot of them are coming over and are making the most of school holidays coming up. And yeah, just coming over to head to the regions and go to the Barossa and things like that. So obviously all week there's gather round things happening, but they do think it's the economic value will surpass what we made last year. So that's really good news. But yeah, gear up for a whopper of a week.
I didn't know, and we'll speak about it in a second, but I did notice at the Gather Round Spectacular last night, they were at pains to do a lot of tourism type stuff, like show a lot of the regions, and they had Billy Brownless going around in a bus, and so I feel like there's a real focus on the tourism aspect.
Yeah, Max Gorn has been snapped at a few different places, our beaches and things like that. But Tom Hawkins, he did a video for, I think it was Monado Zoo, maybe, that was on the SA Tourism page. So they're going to use and, abuse those that they can to get some videos up.
Is there anything cuter than Tom Hawkins standing there with a lemur, with a baby lemur?
About to say, look, I speak on behalf of all footy fans. I'd die for Tom Hawkins. What a dreamy guy.
Yeah, he's pretty
Isn't he?
cute.
Seriously, and he's a farmer too.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, okay. All right, so we spoke about that Gather Round Spectacular last night. It was pretty big, packed out the entertainment centre. Your girl Delta performed.
Of course she did.
She just did a medley and just doesn't know how to miss, that woman.
No, she's absolutely flawless. How many times do you reckon I can say flawless when you say Delta Goodrum in the same sentence? It's like, as soon as you say the words Delta Goodrum, I think my brain goes, say flawless.
Yeah, as
much
I
as
just
you
say
say-
it, and I say it.
Sometimes I don't even get through the word
Flawless.
Sometimes I don't get through the word Delta. I don't even get to the word Delta.
Flelter fludrum. Flawless.
Anyway, she performed, but also the surprise package of the night was Isaac Rankin, the Adelaide Crow, who sang a beautiful cover of a song that I don't know. But anyway, play it.
Oh, let your heart melt to this. It's bloody good.
It's him playing the guitar, by the way.
Man, that is really, really good.
It's good, isn't it?
Don't you just imagine that it's like, I don't know, maybe it's raining, so it's late at night, and Isaac's like carrying you in his arms, and you just feel safe. Do you know what I mean, Abs?
Yeah.
Like when he's carrying you, you just feel like there's nothing else happening in the world.
And he's singing that acoustic version in your ear. And you're
Which
like,
is crazy
I
because
could-
he's also carrying you at the
I
same
know.
time.
And you're like, I could die for this man.
And
Anyway,
Tom Hawkins is like, what about me? I'm like, sorry, Tom.
excuse me, have you seen my baby lemur? I'm over here.
We've moved on quick.
Haven't we?
Geez, serious talent from Isaac Rankin.
Yeah, so that was nice last night. And then they did an interview with Belle and Rory Sloane at the Moseley on date night in inverted commas.
Oh, there you
Like,
go.
there's 7 cameras around, guys. You're broadcasting live into the entertainment centre for the footy show Spectacular. It ain't date night.
Standard date night. There you go.
Standard date night for them, I'd say.
Hey, just to quickly wrap up all things football. Some good news for Port Adelaide. Jason Horne-Francis is back in.
Oh, your boy.
Our boy. Number one listened to, by the way.
Yeah.
Loves it. Loves Nova 919.
Oh, good morning, Jason, if you are listening.
Morning, Jace. Up
Thanks
nice
for your
and early.
continued support.
Appreciate that. Just go easy on the text. Thanks, mate. Jesus. I did tell him one time because he said, I listen to you guys most mornings.
Yeah.
So, Jason, I don't care if we're talking to the Prime Minister.
Yep.
If your name pops up on that phone screen,
Yep.
we're putting you on.
We're taking
all right?
you straight away.
Sorry, Anthony. Jason Horne-Francis is
Yeah.
calling.
And also a quick question. Do you actually have his mobile number? Has he handed it over yet?
No. One day. They're always like, we'll call you through the line of that system, whatever it is.
Yeah,
Why
yeah.
do you trust me with his number?
I don't know, mate.
Crazy.
Hang in there.
Anyway, that's your post-it snooze news. Jodes, can you drop the first question for the 6:15 vending machine quiz next,
Just
please?
one more quick question. Do you have Delta's number?
Absolutely not. They said, it starts with 03. I couldn't find
You
it.
played football with her brother.
What? Why? If I played football with Trent, why would I have access to his sister's number?
Because you're not smooth enough, that's why.
Oh, that's right. Oh, yeah. Okay. I think I was competing with Brian McFadden back in the day. I'm Joe's. We're the home of fresh hits and throwbacks.
Oh, there's no question about that.
You know that. What about this alarming study, which kind of makes sense for the younger generations and probably makes sense for the older generations as well? New research reveals most people are afraid of being judged on their music taste.
Ooh.
The data collected by Spotify and Census Wide found that 61% of people say they're apprehensive about playing music in front of their friends. A whopping 77% of Gen Zs are afraid of their mates judging their music choices, while only 44% of those aged between 35 and 40, that's us, give or take, don't care about what their friends think.
Oh, this is ridiculous,
You
honestly.
get old, you're just like, I don't care,
I
man.
don't give a rat's. If I want to play John Farnham's Two Strong Hearts at the top and sing it at the top of my lungs, I will.
Yeah, and we're such an open, beautiful space here at Nova 919. It's a judgment-free zone for the most part. But for example, I mean, Zoe, you're Gen Z,
I am.
and you judge people on their music
I do.
really
Do you?
aggressively.
Okay.
Harshly.
Super aggressively.
So harshly. If you could, you put them in jail.
No.
So, let me ask you this question.
Yeah.
If you met a bloke and you found out that he had musical taste that was questionable,
Yes.
is that an ick?
That is the only situation in which it is an ick. Yes, I don't judge my friends' music taste. You guys can listen to your John Farnham. That's all good.
Yeah.
Well, now that especially now,
Don't you dare say you don't know who John Farnham is.
I know who John Farnham is. Now that I'm back on dating apps, lots of people will put their music taste on there.
Yeah.
It's an immediate green or red flag. I will swipe yes or no depending on their music taste.
Wow.
Right, okay. Well, let's just go around the room, shall we? And why don't we kick off with you?
Oh, come on.
Your guilty pleasure song. Your song that you're like, oh, geez, I don't know if I'm going to get judged for this one.
Yeah, this actually happened to me in the car. I just hit shuffle and this bad bird came on. It's Young MC Bust a Move.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's no judgment here. You got to think, would this song suit me on my MySpace page? Yeah. Producer Emily, what about you?
So mine's very embarrassing. And for many years, I would never admit to it. And if it came on shuffle, I'd be like, oh, what's this doing here? But now I've fully embraced it. And it's the Queen, Dolly Parton and Kenny Rogers, Islands in the Stream.
Oh, okay.
That is what we are.
Wow.
No one in between. How can we be wrong?
I feel like Jodes loves it more than I do.
No judgment from Jodie. Quite the opposite. Quite some appreciation.
Love that for you.
Hey, there you go. That's not a bad tune. Jodes, I'll take you through mine before we get to yours.
All right.
So, look, I don't get to play this much at home, but if my MySpace was still going, then absolutely. That's so wet. Nah, I'm just joking.
No.
Do you know what it is? Our city. Every time I go for a run, this plays on repeat. And I don't think traditionally, for what I kind of am,
Yeah.
I'm supposed to like songs like this.
What does he say about fireflies? There's a line about fireflies.
I'd like to make myself believe. And he sings like that as well.
Yeah.
Look, that's not traditionally
What's
how
the
the big
line?
bloke
Doesn't he sing about fireflies?
Yeah, it's the name of the song.
Oh.
called a Jodie. So, yes, they do speak about fireflies, given that is the subject. What about yourself, Jazz? What have you got?
Oh, mine's a traditional chick anthem, and it was sort of very uncool, but then it became cool when it featured in Bridesmaids, and it's a bit of Wilson Phillips. Go on.
Okay.
Is it really fair to feel
Come on, you know you want
this way inside? Oh, someday somebody's gonna make you wanna turn around and say goodbye. Until then, hazy. Are you gonna learn to make me
Oh, this is good.
Don't you know, things will change, things will go your way.
You just gotta hold on for one more day.
What's going on here? No, we're back. What's going on here?
Hold on for one more day.
Okay. So that's got
So
quite a
many life-
spiritual connection
So
for you,
many
doesn't
life lessons in there.
it? Really?
Yeah.
You really
well,
analyse
because
the
you
lyric.
can sustain or you can be comfortable with the pain. It's up to you.
This is why Abby goes after you for your age. This is the reason why. 13 24 10. Your judgment-free songs. Now give us a call or send us a text 0400 919 919. There's no judgment here. We'll leave you a little bit more of this. Go off, Jodie Odie.
Let your worries pass you by.
Don't you think it's worth the time? Let's talk about relationships for just one moment, can we? Have you ever looked at that old couple that are walking down the street and they're holding hands and they've been together for 60 years and you go, how'd you guys do it?
Yeah, geez. They've both got some stories to tell.
Yes. So a couples therapist has noticed 7 signs of couples who made it. So these are the qualities that got people to the other side of the marriage battleground, if you will. So there's 7 things here, and as I say them, I want you to mentally tick them off and see if that's what you're doing in your marriage to Cara.
course.
And play along at home, please. Have a think about, okay, do we do that or do we not do that? And
Oh, sorry.
and for the purposes of this exercise, I've brought in producer Zoe, who's only in her 20s, but has just been through a relationship breakup. So here's a few hints and tips for
Thank
you to maybe get through
so
the next
much. I'm really appreciative to be
Is
here.
it too
Thank you.
soon? Tell me if it's too soon.
No, well, we're here.
All right. The first one that the therapist noticed about these couples is that they were friends and they genuinely enjoyed each other's.
That's the most important thing.
And they
Yeah.
genuinely enjoyed each other's company, and they were excited to come home and hear about each other's day. So that's the first one. That
Well,
you
I had
should-
that, so
Okay.
we'll see where I lack.
They had difficult conversations. Well, you had a difficult conversation. It was like, this is done.
Yeah.
No, so they didn't cope by avoiding or denying that anything was wrong. So they hit things head on.
Yeah, that's hard. And that's really hard for your stock standard bloke to open up and talk about what's exactly on your feelings. And you're at the jump in and say, that's me to an absolute T. My wife will say as well, she said it the other day, she'll be like, I'll speak to you week after week. What's going on? What's going on? I go, nothing. And then one night, maybe after a beer and a half, I'd be like, hey, I'm ready to talk for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Where did that come from?
And she's like, I want to watch The Real Housewives
She's
of
like,
Atlanta.
I just want to watch the football.
Yeah.
For goodness sake.
This is a good one. They take the mickey out of each other. So you make light of each other's quirks. So you might get annoyed by them sometimes. And let's be honest, when you first start out in a relationship, everything they do is cute. But after 6-7 years, it's like, that is so annoying. But you can still take the PI55 out of it, which is important as well. They let each other be themselves. So they didn't want to change the other person.
Yeah.
That's really important,
Okay.
I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
'Cause
Because if you go into a relationship,
Yeah.
and this is from a guy who's such an expert in relationship
Aren't you
advice.
just?
If you go into a relationship thinking that there's an ideal person that your partner could be and you think that you can eventually change them over time,
Wrong.
you probably won't.
Yeah.
You probably won't be able to change them.
And you fell in love with that person because of who they are, right? So I don't know why you would ever go in with the intention of changing someone.
Don't change us because we are who we are. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm trying to say?
very
Oh, wait,
goodness.
hello.
Once a horse, always a horse.
That's fine, on, Jazz.
The next one is they fight. So you get frustrated sometimes, but you learn how to navigate that frustration by actually getting into it. But navigating conflict well.
Just to paint a picture here, this is not a visual medium, but Jodie goes, they learn to get into it. And she did that little thing you do with your fist, like
When
bang.
you're threatening someone.
So what are you talking about exactly?
Well, that's the best way to resolve a conflict. Anyway.
You're married to a former ice hockey player as well. The amount of times that Jodes and Greg Oddie have had an issue and then it ends up with Jodie with her
Just
shirt
mush.
over her back, ice hockey style,
I know.
drops the mittens,
yeah.
bang into it.
There we go. They have boundaries with families, so you don't vent to the family or the kids about how mum and dad annoy each other. That's a big one too, and they do what's best for their partnership and the relationship. And the last one is they've been through dark times. This one almost makes me cry because it's those people that have been at the crossroads and you've even had second thoughts and you've thought, do I want to continue in this? But you've decided, yes, I choose to stay, I choose to be with you. And that, they say, the experts, builds trust. So if you've been to war with someone and you got through that war and you say, I still want to fight alongside you, then there you go.
There you go. That's really nice. It's
Isn't
quite
it?
in depth.
It's quite profound.
Do you know what my wife and Cara and I have right now as well? And it was her idea because the most testing time, I think, possibly in a relationship, what I've found is when you've got kids and when you're trying to work out what sort of parent you are.
Yeah.
And I know that my wife is an excellent parent. So I'm sort of trying to get tips on how to do it from her as well at the same time. But you get sort of angry and you get sort of snarky, and sometimes you take out your aggression on each other. But it's clearly the kids that are pissing you off, let's be honest.
Yeah.
So now we've got this, it's almost like a safe word, which is trenches.
Really?
Like we're in the trenches. This is when you're in the trenches. So just know. And then straight away, so I need a safe word from Cara as well. If she says just trenches, I'll go, yes, all right, I am taking it out on you, and vice versa.
Why
And
am I
let's just
crying?
stay on the straight and
No
narrow.
one saw that coming from you. No one saw it.
What the hell is going on?
So he's crying.
What about old
Em's got tears.
leaky eyes McGee over here? What's going on?
God, enough of that. Christ.
What's it? You know, this emotion. What are we doing? How good's footy? Gather round.
We're going back in time. Hazy's On This Daisy.
Yeah, welcome to the Wednesday version of On This Daisy, where we give you a hot, lethal injection, chock-a-block full of knowledge. 3rd of April, let's go back to 1961. Eddie Murphy was born in New York. He's 63 today, one of the most talented performers I reckon I've ever seen.
He was kind of a little bit of ahead of his time, wasn't he?
He was. Like, I think he did so much for stand-up comedy back in the day with Delirious, etc. Like, he absolutely put it on the map and made people go, hang on, this is really, really awesome. 2007, Rolling Stones guitarist Keith Richards denies saying that he smoked his father's ashes. That was a really, really long, outrageous rumour. That kind of made sense for Keith Richards because he was just, I don't know if it means he's more of a rock star, but if anyone could do that and it still seems somewhat cool, maybe Keith Richards could, you know what I mean?
He's a little bit weathered, Keith, isn't he? He's seen some stuff.
Yes, he's looked like he's 100 since probably the age of about 35, I reckon. But he's still going. And now he looks about 250. 2010, iPads went on sale in the US. Who would have thought they would absolutely take over the souls of so many toddlers out there? When my kids get hold of the iPad, that's their version of hard, illicit, addictive drugs.
Yeah, Auntie Jodie was a bit of a biatch the other night because I banned them in my house. I said, if you're all coming over, you're coming over to play with your cousins.
Yeah, play on the iPad.
Yeah, no, I collected them at the door. Give them to me, hand them over. Thank you.
Collected devices. That's very serious, isn't it?
Yeah. And then after about 3 wines, they just all went and got them and I didn't notice.
Yeah.
Good parenting.
Yeah, it's really good parenting. Like, well, you can have your special thing, we can have our special thing.
Yeah.
Number one song on April the 3rd in 2009 by the Black Eyed Peas was
Pow, right in the kisser.
Boom Boom Pow.
Boom, boom, boom. Gotta get that. 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 Boom, boom.